Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Reading ideas. Okay, I've read 3 books recently and I'm going to talk about the third. Okay, it is my first P G Wodehouse. I presume that's how it's pronounced rather than Woodhouse. Ants are not gentlemen. So we'll read the blurb on the back and then I'll tell you what I think. The curious case of the maiden Exford horror. Excuse me. When the doctor advises Bertie to live the quiet life, he and Jeeves head for the pure air and peace of maiden Exford. However, they hadn't reckoned on Bertie's irrepressible but decidedly scheming Aunt Dahlia, around whom an imbroglio of impressive proportions develops, involving the cat which kept popping up when least expected. As Bertie observes, whatever ants are, they are not gentlemen. Okay, so now Jeeves and Wooster, Mr. P G Wodehouse, doesn't need any backing from me. World famous, well loved TV programs, blah 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 blah. Okay, so I don't know whether that makes me kind of feel. I'll give you my honest opinion. Clearly, it's extremely well written. The story of this cat coming and going, the relationship between Jeeves, the butler, and Bertie Wooster, the kind of, what do you call him, a fop, whatever, 1920s, 1930s, gadabout town, minus aristocratic background, public school. So the humour is mild. That's what I want to kind of mention. It's, if I'm describing it correctly, it's a farce. It's a farce, isn't it? Yeah. Great British, great English farce. We're known for our farces, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's, like I said, it's very, very well written. Funny in not a sarcastic sense, but in like a wordy, clever sense. So he'll say something and yeah, just like a clever little twist. I could look and, a groundless charge. I need scarcely say, self being as pure as the driven snow, if not purer. So everything's overplayed a little bit and it's minor nuance, and kind of side by side, I don't know whether it's so much that, but for all how it's well written, funny in places, very, very clever, it's a farce. It's kind of a bit end of empire. It's all manners and, oh, did you trump in front of the vicar? Oh my God, I'll never be able to show my face. So, and yeah, it just kind of, so this, good storytelling, but it's about building. It's about taming the country. This is, about manners and tea and ants and, a girl's said that she's going to marry me. Okay, so are you going to marry her or not? I'm not quite sure of the manners involved. It's like, get a grip, you great big wuss. Yeah? So it's kind of strange in that it's very well written. The sentences are great. It's very, very clever. You can learn a lot, but I don't kind of like the end of empire bit. I don't like the manners bit. I don't like farces. It's just weak and pathetic, and who wants to be weak and pathetic? No. the other thing is as well, unlike, you know, in good old Louis, the main character is usually a good guy fighting against the elements. Bertie Wooster, you know, in my opinion, ain't a good guy, is he? He don't do anything, doesn't earn anything, doesn't do anything constructive. He's just, you know, living off his inheritance, fopping about, got a personal servant. You know, everything's all kind of, you know, so you don't have to worry. Well, you might have to worry about losing an inheritance, but it's just all, you know, manners and clever words. And so I think, I could be wrong, but I have an automatic background dislike when the main character is, you know, is just kind of, well, he's pathetic, he's weak, and, you know, he's clever in his narrow kind of field. Yeah. So that's, and the other thing, you know, a lot of people who look at this channel are, you know, from the USA. We're not in great shape as a country at the moment. We're not. The leaders are pathetic. Country is, oh my God. And I kind of read something like this where people are worried about, you know, what people say, what they wear, and, you know, the correct words and the correct language, and just think, yeah, while the top of our society was looking at all that kind of rubbish, just kind of like the world kind of like moved on, didn't it, doing proper things. So I'll say again, very, very, very clever, very well written. It's Jeeves and Wooster, isn't it? But I have, and I hope that to my dying day, I dislike farces and dislike this kind of, you know, narrow, specific, you know, kind of manners, etiquette. It's kind of like, yeah. So, yeah. So, what I'd be interested in is, you know, what the American. So that's my kind of a bit of a distaste for kind of end of empire. I'm just wondering what Americans kind of feel is for, you know, kind of Louis L'Amour, Wild West. You know, is that all? You know, what's that kind of cultural reference to that? Something to think about. So I'll probably read more, but it'll be kind of, that will be 20% sufferance, and I'll see how far I get. But I prefer Maigret, Sherlock Holmes, that kind of thing. Hope you're reading great things. So for the P G Wodehouse absolute lovers out there, bring it on. Bring it on. Yeah, bring it on. Bye everybody.